All right, let's dive into some Philippine literature. We're taking a look at a lesson plan today. It's actually for Filipino 7th graders.
Okay.
And it's about this short story. It's a classic, How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife
Yeah.
by Manuel E. Argoa.
This is a really interesting one.
Have you read this one before?
I have, yeah. It's one that we all kind of read growing up.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about it, and this lesson plan in particular, is how it uses the setting
Okay.
to highlight cultural differences.
Okay.
Right from the get-go, we're drawn into these like contrasting worlds of, you've got that bustling city life.
Right.
And then you've got the quiet, traditional Philippine countryside.
So are we talking like Manila versus like a rural farming community? When you
Exactly. Yeah. You've got that kind of stark contrast.
Yeah, I can already picture it, like the bright city lights versus those rice paddies, and then you've got like, stylish dresses and then more traditional clothes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it feels like, I don't know, you can practically feel the tension brewing, like a storm or something. Like when you watch those movie montages and it's like, oh, we're about to have a clash of worlds here.
Exactly. And that clash, it's not just like a visual thing.
Right.
It's not just about aesthetics. It becomes the foundation for some really engaging conflict in the story.
Okay, so conflict, like, I feel like every story needs that. It's what keeps us on the edge of our seat, makes us want to know what happens next.
Exactly. It's the engine of a good story.
Now, this lesson plan, it talks about two main types of conflict, internal and external.
Right.
So we're not just talking about your average argument here, right?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like, what else is there?
So you've got internal conflict, which is that battle within a character's own mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's their own doubts, their desires, those tough choices.
Like those should I stay or should I go moments.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've all been there.
And then on the other hand, you've got external conflict. And that stems from outside forces that are acting on a character.
Okay.
So think about societal expectations, family pressures, or even something like a literal storm brewing in the distance.
Oh, I see. So it can be like a force of nature or something like that?
I see. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Something totally out of their control.
Okay, so with these contrasting settings we talked about, the city versus the countryside, I'm starting to see how that could actually become a source of external conflict in the story.
Precisely. Just imagine, you're someone who's accustomed to that fast-paced modern city life.
Right.
And suddenly you have to adapt to a rural community that's like deeply rooted in their traditions.
Yeah, that's a recipe for some culture shock.
Oh, absolutely.
And misunderstandings, for sure.
Big time. And that's exactly the situation in How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife.
Oh, okay, so this is where it gets juicy.
This is where it gets good.
Tell me more about Leon and his city girl wife.
So we've got Leon, and he's super excited to bring home his new wife, Maria, to meet his family in their barrio.
Okay.
Sounds simple enough, right?
Yeah, seems pretty straightforward so far.
But Maria is a city girl through and through.
Okay.
And his family, well, let's just say they hold on to those rural traditions very, very dearly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm already sensing some serious internal and external conflict brewing here. Yeah. Poor Maria. It's like she's about to be thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, a little bit.
Speaking of deep ends, this lesson plan mentions something about a test connected to their journey.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So this is where Argella, he masterfully weaves the setting into the conflict.
Okay.
You see, there are two ways to reach Leon's family home.
Okay.
There's the smooth, well-traveled Camino Real.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Right.
The easy way.
Yeah. And then there's the Weg, which is this rough, bumpy back road.
Oh, okay, so like the scenic route, maybe not so scenic.
Not so much, no.
Okay, I'm already feeling nervous for them. Please tell me they opted for the smoother ride.
Right.
Who needs a bumpy start to meeting the in-laws?
You would think, right?
Yeah.
But this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Leon, even though he knows the easier path, he chooses the Weg road.
What? Why would he do that?
And the reason is because his father specifically told him to.
Whoa, yeah, I did not see that coming.
So this choice, it seems small, right?
Right.
But it speaks volumes about Filipino culture, especially about, the importance of parental approval,
Okay.
respect for elders, even if it means taking a more difficult path.
Wow, I never thought about it that way.
It's more than just a journey for them, it's a test.
Right, it's symbolic.
Exactly.
So even before Maria steps foot in the house, she's already being tested.
Subtly, yeah.
Yeah, on her adaptability. Talk about pressure.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's just really fascinating how the author uses this simple choice,
Right.
this road, as the symbol for these larger cultural differences that they're trying to navigate.
And you see, he's not just telling us about these differences, right? He's bringing them to life through these really vivid details.
Right.
These choices that speak louder than words.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, it makes you really think about it. This whole test thing is so interesting. Like, it really makes you think about these cultural expectations that we don't even realize are there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it also makes me wonder about Maria's perspective in all of this. I mean, we're hearing about this journey and this test, but like, how is she feeling about all of this?
That's such a good point, and it actually brings us to another really powerful storytelling tool that this lesson plan untacks.
Okay.
And that's point of view.
Okay, point of view. I feel like we're going beyond just whose perspective are we getting here?
Totally.
And like into some deep literary territory.
Exactly, yeah.
So point of view, often shortened to POV, it's basically the lens through which the entire story is told, right? And it shapes how we see everything, the characters, what happens, all of it.
Yeah, it colors everything.
And in How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife, we're seeing it through whose eyes? It's Baldo, right?
Yes, Baldo is our guy.
Okay, for a second there, I think I was picturing like a whole other character.
Yeah.
And just to refresh my memory, who is Baldo again in relation to Leon and Maria?
So Baldo is Leon's younger brother.
Okay.
He's actually the one who is talking to Leon about the Camino Real versus the Wade Road.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not just some random observer. He's like right there in the middle of it all.
He's right there with him.
But why tell the story from his point of view? Like, what does Baldo bring to the table that, say, Leon or Maria wouldn't?
Well, that is where Argilia's brilliance as a writer, it really shines through, you know?
Okay.
Because by choosing Baldo, this young, observant narrator, he adds this incredible layer of depth and complexity to the story.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So think about it. Baldo, he idolizes Leon, right?
Yeah.
To him, Leon's practically this, like, mythical figure.
Yeah.
So when Leon brings home this city wife, this woman who's from a world that's so different from their own, Baldo's observing everything with this, like, mix of wonder and apprehension.
All right.
And maybe even a little bit of fear of the unknown.
It's like we're experiencing the whole story through the eyes of a child, kind of, right?
Exactly.
And we're taking it all in, maybe noticing things that someone older wouldn't.
Absolutely. And because Baldo is younger, he's also probably a little more accepting, a little more open-minded than some of the older characters might be.
Right.
He's willing to see the good in Maria, even if others have their doubts.
That's such a good point. We see Maria through Baldo's eyes and not through like the lens of prejudice or preconceived notions for something.
Exactly.
And wouldn't the story feel totally different if it were told from Leon's point of view? He's carrying the weight of his family's expectations and everything.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Or imagine the story from Maria's perspective.
Right.
You know, she's navigating this new world, trying to fit in, probably feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. Each perspective would completely change the feel of the story.
That makes me think about how often we only get one side of the story in real life, too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like we hear gossip from a friend or we see something on the news.
Right.
But actually hearing it from the person who experienced it would be a totally different picture.
Totally. And that's why understanding this idea of point of view is so essential.
Yeah.
And not just for analyzing literature, but like for navigating our own lives.
Right.
Because it reminds us to consider all of the different perspectives that are at play.
It's like that old saying, there's two sides to every story.
Exactly.
And then there's the truth, which is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and who's telling it, right?
Right, exactly. Wow, this deep dive has been really eye-opening.
It has.
We started with this lesson plan, and we ended up uncovering all these layers of meaning in How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. It's amazing how much richer a story gets when you understand things like conflict and point of view.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's the beauty of literature, right?
Yeah.
It invites us to engage with these complex themes, these different perspectives, in a way that you just don't get in everyday life.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like we've unlocked a secret code now for appreciating stories, whether we're talking about, you know, classic Filipino short stories or even our own experiences.
Absolutely, because think about it, conflict is everywhere in life.
It's so true.
Right.
Yeah,
and so is perspective.
Yeah.
Every single one of us sees the world through this unique lens, shaped by, you know, how we grew up, the experiences we've had, our values.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So if there's one key takeaway that you want our listener to walk away with from this deep dive, what would it be?
I would say, remember that every story, whether it's fictional or even based on real life, it's shaped by conflict. and it's told from a certain point of view.
Okay, I like that.
And so by recognizing those elements, by digging a little deeper, we gain a much richer, more nuanced understanding of, the world and the people in it.
That is beautifully said.
Thank you.
I think we can all benefit from that.
Yeah.
So to our listener, the next time you find yourself captivated by a story, take a moment to think about what we talked about today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask yourself, what kind of conflicts are driving the plot? Whose perspective am I getting? And how might that be shaping my understanding of what's happening?
Such good questions to ask.
Right. You might be surprised.
We will be.
At the depth and complexity that you uncover.
Yeah, it's like putting on a new pair of glasses.
No, I like that.
And seeing the world with fresh eyes.
Yeah. And who knows? You might even start noticing these elements in your own life.
Absolutely.
The conflicts that you face, the different perspectives at play in your relationships, even just the stories that you tell yourself.
All of it, yeah.
Such a good point.
It's all connected.
Well, I think we've given our listener plenty to think about today.
I think so, too.
This has been such a fantastic deep dive into Philippine literature and cultural nuances and the power of storytelling. I love it.
Me too. I always learn something new with these deep dives, so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the stories that shape our world.
And we'll be here to explore them with you.
Absolutely. All right, see you next time.
See you next time.